Hello.
Hello. Here we are in my cemetery swamp,
Yes.
aka the hot tub.
I love it.
Oh wow, you are getting the horizontal. You're getting like way more of a shot than I can see of myself. This is fine. Good.
Yeah.
Great.
No, you look
Me,
wonderful.
you. I got Davy Bones right here, and then behind him, that's Party Boy.
I love it. I love it so much. Oh, it
So,
popped. We didn't hear it pop though. I think
ah,
Discord was like, no, it was too loud. I think Discord didn't like it.
this is my hot tub cup because you can't have no glass in the hot tub
Yes.
rule.
Yes. What are you pouring right now, Nikki?
This is my friend just brought this over. This is a 90 plus Prosecco Rosé, and I like 90 plus. I don't know if you've tried them before. They are like a
No.
reasonably wine, but they are like a blend of all 90 plus rated wines. But you never know who it's going to be. So
Oh,
it's a bunch of very fancy champagnes put together into this bottle for like $12.
nice. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I'm gonna have to hit you up to like as a reminder about that. That's
Please
awesome.
up for I'm a great resource for reasonably priced champagne recommendations that will make you look like you're balling on a budget. Because I have
I
champagne taste on a lemonade budget.
yes, yes. So if y'all haven't figured it out, this is Spooky Loopy. Oh God, don't fall.
I'm fine. Farewell.
I did. That's hysterically funny. If you do command chat, you will get her Twitch link, and you will also get NikkiLuparelli.com, which you can find all of her links all over the place. If you decide you love this human, which I don't know how you could decide anything other
Oh,
than that. And so, Nikki, I say this to everybody. Like, I have been asking all of my favorite streamers, people I look up to, people who inspire me, and honestly, your whole existence inspires me.
oh,
I I don't mean to like fangirl, but like
no.
you are so incredibly talented. Like y'all, Nikki is a producer, a singer, a performer, a burlesque dancer, a comedian, like so many things. And it's just incredibly I don't want to use the word intimidating because I
Oh,
feel like it's got like connotations to it, but also like I just want to be you when I grow up. Can I do
Same.
that?
oh. It's a long way. You're still very young. 300 is very far away for you.
You're right. You're right. But oh yeah, I haven't even had a sip of wine. Cheers, Nikki. Cheers to Friday.
Cheers to Friday.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes, I need a sip.
Yes, so next Friday, so I haven't been streaming as much as I had been during the pandemic Lovato because, same with you, I'm sure. I started to do some in real life shows again. I had to go back to like my job and shit. And
Yeah.
that's not my day job. My sober day job is I do laser tattoo removal.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's my sober day job. And I could not do that remotely. And I really,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, yeah.
So, do you still do that or are you still not working for them?
Oh, it's actually my own company, and
Oh, gotcha.
I am back working for myself begrudgingly. I just lasered a bunch of tattoos yesterday. I did a forehead tattoo this week.
Dude, that trend, I'm sure you're going to see so many face tattoos needing to be lasered off in the future.
Face
So,
tat- the number one thing that I say that I do is like wedding ring tattoos. That was really big like 10 years ago. So they're all getting divorced now.
oh my gosh. Wow, that's really interesting. I didn't even have that on my bingo card to ask you. I didn't
Well,
even.
what's your day gig? Yeah, I normally don't like dox myself. Like, what's your day gig? But I mean, it's my own company. Like, you can't fire me. I own it. So
That's,
go ahead.
well, that, and you're a proud business owner. Like, you are a producer of shows. And so you're kind of the first person on like my chat segment to be literally so much more than a streamer. Like I've had so many streamers, so many musicians, and you are like incredibly multifaceted. So that's one of the things I want to kind of ask you the most about is how y'all, you need to just go like look at her.com and scroll through there's like her about section has a bunch of posters in it. There's the haunted speakeasy. There's I love the branding of like Darling Nikki and James Blonde.
Oh, thank you.
Just all the branding is so on point. And I didn't know that, Marie. I didn't know that. I'm so glad Nikki is the reason you're here.
Oh, thank you.
So my question is so going from producing all these shows, and also, side note, I want to know how long you've been producing all these shows without doxing your age. You can say 300 years if you want to.
I do.
But how did producing those shows kind of translate over to Twitch? And how did you find Twitch, honestly?
So I started producing when I was really, really, really long time ago, and I used to co-produce with Lainey Schooltree. I don't know if you've seen her stream yet. She's my old partner in our band, the Bohemians. We were a musical comedy duo, and we have you can get us on iTunes, on Spotify, the Steamy Bohemians, pre Garfunkel and Oates, so very old.
Yeah.
And our album came out in like 2000. You're gonna have to look it up. Sorry, I'm not gonna dox myself. You have to do yourself. But we started a show together called Jerkus Circus, which was neo vaudeville, burlesque, variety format with a band at the end, and we would do our songs in between. So that's really when I started producing, and that's also when my stand-up comedy really grew, because before that I'd been doing stand-up comedy, and I had come close to getting a break a few times, but I didn't want to move to LA. My grandfather, who recently passed away, he always told me, like, if I can't get to you in 3 hours, you can't move there. And he meant like by car. So I moved to LA, and I kind of stayed in my area. I'm in like the Boston area. I was doing stand-up. I started doing that, and that's when I started producing. And it also helped my stand-up, because I was just, hosting for like 3 hours at a time, and like a million acts, and you have to come up with something funny to say in between each one. It's a trial by fire, and we were doing like this real roadhouse. Like, I'm surprised they didn't have chicken wire up, beer bottles being thrown. One time, we literally had a guy on called the Naked Comic, and people thought it was a joke, and then they'd see him, and he was actually naked, and they'd get upset. And one guy like threw a beer bottle at him, or maybe just dumped his beer on his penis. I can't remember. It was striking. It was nuts. So it was a nuts time.
Wow.
And then after that, Lainey got into music producing, so we really kind of fell off from doing that. That's when I started doing my cabaret act, because I wanted to still sing, and I was still kind of doing stand-up, but stand-up doesn't feel as good to me when it's over, if that makes sense. So I'll go and I'll do a stand-up set, and you can have a great stand-up set, but, like, I don't know, it's just, I feel like I connected more to the audience when I was, like, singing too. And my stand-up kind of evolved into this weird hybrid where I brought a pink ukulele, and I was hula hooping, and I do booby magic, which you've seen me pull birds out of my bra. Like, that was part of my stand-up routine.
Yes.
But I started producing cabaret, and in 2000, I want to say 11, this club called Oberon that I loved. They were brand new. They were amazing. They were like the closest thing to Studio 54, I think, like, but a black box theater, but very like gay friendly. And you could have people hanging from the ceiling. They'd do a glitter drop. Like, it was just a really magical place. They hit me up. I started doing Jerkus Circus there. I started doing James Blonde there. That was the first show I think I produced on my own without Lainey. It was James Blonde, and it was all James Bond cabaret, and I had a few go-go dancers, a few burlesque dancers, and then from there, I started doing the Bowie show, which was the Bowie burlesque, and then I was just trying to think, well, what else can I do with a live band and burlesque? That's when we did Darling Nikki, which was like a Prince and Madonna show. We did, I tried a night at CBGB. I was doing like a Blondie thing, so I had like a Blondie band, I had like a Ramones cover band, I had a Talking Heads cover band. We did that with burlesque. That was logistically a nightmare, but it was a really fun show.
Yeah.
Let's see. The most recent, I did a Blonde Side of the Moon, which is a Pink Floyd tribute with girls hanging from the ceiling and, dancing and all that. And then we finally ended up with Led Zeppelin. And now, right now, this Friday, I'm doing Stevie Nicky, which is all Stevie Nicks and burlesque. And I'm so sorry. I'm having such a hard time looking at the camera because the screen is black because I can't see.
I know. No, you're doing fine. I'm just,
I
it's
feel like I
fine.
look down, and I'm just like, which is good because I just had, so I'm very vain. I've been doing some things to my face,
Nothing wrong
and
with that.
I got Kybella done this week, and Kybella, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's shots under your chin to make your double chin go away because it's something that really bothers me, and I've noticed it on camera, and it really bothers me. So I got these shots done in my chin. So my chin is swollen, like a
Oh,
bulldog. And I'm like trying to get a good angle for you. You can't see it. I'm sorry. When you're aging, you get vain. You're on the camera. You do things. So I tried this thing. It's like 16 shots in your chin. It's like you got bitten by a rabid animal.
oh my
It's like,
gosh.
it's bizarre. It is bizarre. And then you swell up, and then it goes away, and then takes your double chin with it.
Wow.
So,
I've never heard of that.
learning all sorts today.
Yeah, I totally understand though, because it's different when you go from being photographed on stage. That's a very different thing. You know exactly what to wear. You know exactly how to do your makeup. People like us who have been on stage for 300 years know exactly how to make themselves look good on stage. And then you have a camera and things start changing, your body starts changing. I know I've dealt with that, like my body changing over the years, and then streaming, obviously it's a totally different perspective and a totally different type of makeup you got to do. Like I've had to my makeup style has changed 100% since I started streaming. I don't know, have you experienced the same thing even just between live shows and streaming too?
Oh, 100%. And the difference with the live shows and streaming is, I mean, not today, I can't see myself, but streaming, you have to look at your own face like for so long. And that was bizarre to me because, you know, stage performing and even just going out, you do your makeup, oh, you look good in the mirror, you're gone. And then later on, you're like, oh shit. And then having to edit VODs, not that I do that, but I was trying for a while. Like, I can't look at my own face anymore. I don't know how people do it and edit themselves and like, oh, I rewatch my streams to get better. I'm like, bless you. I cannot stand the sight of my face anymore. Like I mean I can, but I don't know. It's just, yeah, the camera is different, the angle is different, lighting, and I notice like way more. Then it got to a real vanity thing. Like right now on Discord, like there's no filter on this.
Right.
With the app I was using with Prism, hey, books, proofs, and views with the Prism app, I was able to do like a little filter, which was like a little Instagram. Made you look like it just cleared things up, kind of shaved off, 100 or so years. And I found it to be really useful. And like, it's bizarre then to see yourself without it. I don't know. Like, I have face dysmorphia of like using filters, and you see like your real face, and you're like, shit. Like, I thought I looked better than that.
No, and that's a huge issue with filters, though. That's really interesting that you were using a filter in Prism, because I have kind of dabbled with that. My machine doesn't love to do filters on top of the stream itself, so yeah, it's pretty heavy. And so I kind of gave up on it pretty quickly, but that's really interesting because even when you're in Snapchat, Instagram, whatever the location is, whatever the platform is, it's such an interesting point you bring up that I don't think I've touched on with anybody, is we deal with a lot of dysmorphia because we're looking at these filters that make our faces look totally different. And I see, I'm a huge sucker for filters. I kind of feel the same way as you. Like, I love a good filter, but then it's like I also make a point to post myself without filters all the time. If I post with the filter, I make sure like within the week I post a no makeup or at the very minimum no filter picture, because it messes with my brain.
Yeah. No, it does. It does mess with my brain. One of my favorite filters that I just found, and I really liked, I did a few of them. It was like a half and half.
Yeah.
So half like a catfish filter and the other half was real. And I actually really liked that.
Yeah.
And because you can kind of go back and forth, and that one didn't wig me out as much. I swear the phones in our camera are engineered to make us look as bad as possible and to like highlight the weirdest things. And I'm like, I just looked in the mirror. I looked okay in the mirror. Why on the camera am I so, I don't know, lumpy is a word that sometimes I give to myself, and I'm like, what is going on?
No, I used to do that for gigs. I would do my makeup, and Trish knows, I would then take selfies in a couple different lights, and then it flips it, so it's not mirror image anymore. And so I could now clearly see what was not right with my makeup, even though in the mirror, I'm like, I'm fine with this. And then I would take a literally just a selfie, let it flip it the other direction. And I would notice like a ton wrong that I have to fix. And I'm like, oh, our brains are totally not wired for this.
No, it's true. Or one of my favorite things that I do. So, oh, you're not lumpy. Thank you. And thank you, Fen, for saying you're both lovely. Fuck, where was I going with this? Mirror, face,
camera, action,
lumpy, action. You know, oh yeah,
filters. It's okay.
I'm not gonna say what decade, but there was a time period where I thought both Gwen Stefani and Drew Barrymore were like icons to me.
They are.
So I plucked, like, all my eyebrows because it was a skinny eyebrow season, you know. So I just had like little tiny skinny eyebrows. And they don't grow back, so I don't advise doing that. If you're young now, if you're Gen Z and you're like, oh, skinny eyebrows are coming back, just do what the drag queens do. Just do like a little glue, you know, like don't pull them out. But so I have to draw on my eyebrows every day. This is where I was going with that. So I look in the mirror, I draw on my eyebrows, and then I turn on the camera, it's the other way. One eyebrow's like up here,
yes.
You know, it's never even, or like one of my lips is like
But you can't see it in the mirror. You're programmed.
Yeah, then I'll be inquisitive, you know, like
the one inquisitive brow. Yeah, no, I also, I mean, I'm 33. I started plucking my eyebrows. So I was blessed with Sicilian body hair. It is what it is. I started shaving and tweezing and doing all the things when I was like 10 years old because I was getting bullied by people because like I had leg hair that was like crazy and it was like popping through my shorts and like popping through my tights. Like, so I started tweezing my eyebrows at a pretty young age in general. And so I got out of hand and I plucked them away because that was the trend in it was like late 90s, early 2000s where it was just that one little guy just right at the top, just a pencil little line. And
now I have an eyebrow comb over. I have like 3 hairs, like Homer hairs. I'm like just kind of brushing over for the team.
Yes. So my right eyebrow actually can stand on its own. I think that's what's more frustrating for me. It's because I have one eyebrow that can hang without any fill in, and then the other one has a downward comb over. I have to comb it down in order to get it to fill in the right spots. It's infuriating.
All the stuff that we do. Oh, I did bring Phony. I was like, are we going to do the on Phony? But I don't have Candy Dish here. Candy Dish has, so Candy Dish, who was doing all my, not put one down, pick one.
Pick one.
My, video production and, all the voices on the show. So she's back to producing full time too. So tonight she's doing a Taylor Swift drag show in Providence.
Oh.
And it's actually, she found a niche market because there's like no Taylor Swift shows, apparently. So she's been just like cleaning up and now has started doing each individual album. And I was gobsmacked because like I knew she was popular, but like I didn't think she was like, oh, I'm going to do a drag show of every album that Taylor Swift has ever done. And each show is going to sell out like 4 times.
Wow.
I have no clue. It's pretty amazing. So she's doing them, I think she's in Boston tonight, Boston and Providence. She's been doing those shows. But yeah, she's the most point of a Phony. See? See? What's Davy Bones? Why doesn't Davy Bones have any hands? I want to tell you some behind the scenes secrets.
Please.
All right. Davy Bones has no arms and he is strapped to the seat, otherwise he floats. That's some behind the scenes stuff for
now
you.
That's a trade secret right there.
That's the trade secret. All these gravestones behind me, I don't know if you can behold the gravestones.
We can see them bright as day. We're good. We can see them.
Oh, they are from a movie that I can't name, but we got them like practically like fire sale. They were, getting rid of them. It was filmed in Massachusetts. Nice. And I can't say what movie it is, but it's the opposite of like Big Men.
Okay. I think I got it. I think I have it. Yeah. It's in my head. I won't say it, but I think we can get on the same wavelength. And so I love hearing about what's going on, and that's a really good segue, because I know Candy has helped you build everything on Twitch, like all of your beautiful scenes. I love all your beautiful backgrounds. I love your stupid show, and I say that with love. If y'all have never been to Spooky's stupid show, she's like, thank you so much for being here on my stupid show. Like it's the best stupid show ever. And so if you wouldn't mind, can you talk a little bit about like the inception of moving over to Twitch during the pandemic?
Oh yeah, sorry, I've been talking about like everything except what you asked me on the show to do.
It's okay. I wanted to know all about the productions you do. So honestly, that's why I was like, this is going to be so loaded. I have so many more questions than most streamers because
our interview now. I hope. Yeah. Sorry, there's no you. We're not. So yeah, the panini happened, and yes. I went into lockdown. I want to say like March 10th or something. Might have been of 2020 was like my last show, and like around when I last lasered. Yeah. So from there, it was like maybe a week or two into lockdown that I decided to do like a Facebook Live, you know, just to like connect with people. I was feeling really, as we all were, you know. Yeah. And I did that, and that, I don't want to say like, oh, it had legs, but it did really well. So then I was like, oh, let me try this again. And then I started doing it every week. And then I turned into every Friday. And it used to just be me getting drunk on camera and talking to people. That's all I was doing on Facebook Live. And I was doing that every Friday for a while. And then that turned into the cooking show. And then I started having my friend Brooks record backing tracks for me because as a singer, I only ever played with like a band or at the very least, you know, a pianist. I wasn't, I don't accompany myself. I play the ukulele. I say I play 3 chords. I'm limited. You know, I barely even have the accents to awesome. My A minor is tenuous at best. So, so I started doing that every Friday, and then, you know, I started doing like more shows. Then Sunday became just a singing show. So eventually from Facebook, I had heard about Twitch, and that would have more longevity. That like, I don't know, that Facebook Live wasn't really going to have any longevity, and that there was actually a chance to make a little income on Twitch. I mean, people were just tipping me on Facebook, so that was great. Like that was actually when everyone was on lockdown, I was making almost the same I was singing out. It was amazing. Yeah. But you know, everyone's going out again, so it's not the same. So then I just started like dabbling in Twitch. And then just at one point, we just kind of started making the switch over to full Twitch. And I do love Twitch and what it has to offer. And I love the community. I love meeting people around the world. So that was how I ended up over here. And I was really going for it for a while. Like, I respect so much, you know, you and Fen, and you're, like, sticking to your schedule and, like, all those streams a week. And like, I can't do it. I can't. I'm like, ugh. Well, and also I actually can't right now because, as I was mentioning to you, I've been using Prism Live Studio for all my streams. And Prism did an update, and I lost everything. Yeah. So all my built streams, it wiped my Stream Deck. My Stream Deck was programmed with all my scenes and all my songs, and just everything was gone. Yeah. And it's just like running up that hill. Like, I don't want to, neither Candy nor I want to rebuild it. So I've been like, oh, let's do in real life stuff. So now I have a gimbal. I got the personal Wi-Fi. It's like a Mifi. It's a block I take with me so I can do like in life stuff. And so I've been focusing more on just like, okay, I'll stream my rehearsal. Or I'll stream, you know, this show. I also picked up a Pivo. I don't know if you've heard of Pivo. No. Pivo, you put your camera in it, it's a tripod, and it tracks you. So, like, if I had it in the hot tub right now, it'd be, like, kind of tracking me as I move, and it would look more dynamic. The problem is integration. It doesn't have a direct integration with the Twitch app yet, so it's not ready yet, and its battery life isn't that long. But if I was just doing, like, TikTok content or something, it'd be amazing. You know, it's a really neat product. Sorry, that derailed.
It's okay. We have all the time. I don't care how far you digress. I'm loving learning more about you because all I ever see is your stupid show. So I love getting to know a little bit behind the scenes, honestly. Like, I'm just staring at you smiling. I don't know if you know that.
I love that. Did I tell you that 2 weeks ago I got invited to a 4th of July party. This is like one of the most Nikki thing that's ever happened. I just done my wet set. So that's an old timey hairdo thing where
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure you know sponge rollers. I have an old timey hair dryer, and I do that, and that's my hair for the week. Like I'll redo it, but that's kind of it. We don't get it wet. And if you have hair that's bleached like mine. My hair is so bleached that in order to get it this color, oftentimes your scalp has to bleed. So just know, like, blonde is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I went to this party. It was a pool party, and I'm in the pool about like waist high. Just finished saying like, yeah, no, I can't get this wet. I definitely can't get chlorine into it because it'll break off and turn green. Like,
Yeah.
It was one of those pools that like it's a pool, and then it's like the continental shelf, and then. So I'm there with my Truly, and I'm like, oh, I look great. This is fabulous. I take one step, I'm under. I had to leave. I got my hair wet. I had to leave the fucking party to go home and wash and reset my hair and get the chlorine out. I was that person. Like, I can't even believe this is me right now. I can't believe that bye, everybody. I had just gotten there, too. They're like, oh
Okay. Oh man.
Sorry.
But I totally get it, because if you leave that chlorine in your hair, you're going to have ugly breakage. You're going to have that green tint. That's for real. That happens. I have had it happen to myself as well. It is not great.
They didn't.
Oh, yeah. No, blonde is a lifestyle, and I miss it a lot. I was blonde for many years. People don't realize that, because as soon as, like, literally 2 months before Pandemic Lovato occurred, I chopped all my hair off to like my chin, and that was where all the blonde was.
Oh my God.
I had let it grow out, and I was blonde for years right before. And so people don't actually realize it's a lifestyle. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of upkeep. It's a lot of maintenance. And yeah, you don't want to get your hair wet a lot, because the damage that you do is so bad. And it's the part of the vanity. I totally understand, honestly. I was just saying last night what I would give to be able to keep up red hair. I am like a redhead at heart, and it's kind of the same struggle.
Yeah, because you have to bleach it and then dye it to get that color, and that's a lot.
Yeah, my hair is too dark to just like dye it red. So I kind of am in that same spot. Like, unless you're gonna bleach it and you know, have the itchy scalp for a minute, it's hard. It's a whole lifestyle.
It is, and luckily I learned how to mix it myself, so I generally don't like this is all home care, especially during the pandemic too. It's like, oh, if you want to stay blonde during the pandemic, you better figure out how the fuck to do it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I have an undercut too. So like Trish learned how to do an undercut like really well. Like for anybody who doesn't know, I'll turn around very quickly and show it. It needs to be cut before our gig, but I'll turn around for a second. That is what an undercut looks like. I don't know if you can see it very well. So that would be gone without a Trish in my life for the upkeep. And so I probably would have let it go if I had not had just my natural hair color. Sparky is a natural ginger. I am so jealous. And yeah, I did Aether. My hair was probably about this long, if not longer, and I chopped it all off right here, like literally right here. It was quite short at the beginning of the pandemic. But yeah, I welcome in. I'm not sure how to say your name, and welcome in Sad Moths as well. And just so everybody knows, I am paying attention to the chat. We are both paying attention to the chat, actually. But
I do. I chat here. Yeah, Fen wants you to ask about when I threatened his life.
I saw that. Yes, Fen had the amazing opportunity to meet you, do a show with you. Lord, we are so jealous. I'm jealous.
And he's coming back here, I hope. I have a spot for him in the house. And I was actually thinking, Candy Dish says it's a really bad idea, but I think we should have a stream cam going like 24/7 in the house that we're all staying at in Salem.
That sounds fantastic.
Well, technically staying in Gloucester, but whatever. It's Salem. Real world Salem.
That's incredible. And hi, Kev Wolf. And so what was the question Fen said when you threatened his life? Is that what he said?
Yeah. So Fen came to do my show in Salem, the Haunted Speakeasy, and I asked him if he wanted to sing a song with the band, because he was doing like downstairs, you know, his thing pre-show,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, let's find a song that the band already knows. So the crossover was Minnie the Moocher, and I was like, okay, great, you know Minnie the Moocher? He's like, yep, great, everything's great. So we didn't have time to do a rehearsal, which is also my fault. Like, we didn't have time between when Fenner, everybody, the band, everybody arrived to like get a rehearsal in. So I just kind of trial by fired him, and I just kind of threw him on stage, and he did good. You know, everything was great. And then the next night he came on, and he had his phone with him for like lyric help, and I told him to get his phone off my fucking stage, or I was going to murder him. So that was it. That I was going to literally kill him if he tried to read lyrics off the phone on my stage.
Okay, I've been personally attacked because all I do is read lyrics, Nikki. I just need you to know that.
I know, but it was a 20s party, and I was like, no. So what we did for him is we set up a pad that he could read lyrics off of, so that he wasn't on his phone.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, that totally tracks. The fact that you were trying to make it immersive and like in the 20s, that makes sense.
All it was, and I wouldn't really have killed him. I probably just would have smothered him for a while with a pillow or something pillow-like.
I thought you were just gonna say smothered him with your titties. To be perfectly honest with you,
I was gonna say that, but I was like afraid that would be too much.
No, you are not too much. You are not too much. You and your titties are not too much.
You know what they call them? What I see all the time on Facebook, the kids are calling them the mommy milkers. That's hilarious to me.
Oh, I can't. We were all thinking it, right, Books? We were all thinking she's going to say titties. She's going to say boobs. It's going to happen.
Totally, and that's what I meant. And he said he deserved it. No, I didn't tell him. Like, how can I expect somebody to know what if I don't tell them? So I also, he wasn't the only person I snapped at. I'm a terror, honestly, trying to run these shows. We had like 6 or 7 sorry, this neighborhood is bumping.
I hear that. Like, it's okay though. I can hear you.
The band had like 9 people. I had like 7 burlesque dancers. I was wrangling some drag performers. It's a lot. So, yeah. And then plus the open bar. Things get crazy.
Yeah.
You should come.
Listen, we're considering it this year. Last year, I don't think it was terribly feasible for us, but like legitimately, Trish and I have spoken about it. Like, we have actually talked about it.
It'd be really fun.
I know. I would absolutely love to do that. And here's the thing: I would like scoop up Beta whether she likes it or not, and she's coming with us. Yes, apparently open bar. That does so open bar like you pay a ticket and then
open bar for us. Open bar for yeah.
Marie got very excited.
Open bar because Mama's also in charge of the drink tickets. So I'm just like, here you go. So it's not technically open. I would say it's more at my pleasure. Is the drinking.
Yeah, and I knew Beta would need to come with us. And I'm like, well, Beta's kind of right on the way. We can just scoop right by. We'll grab Beta, and she can come with us. But actually, that's a great segue because Fenwa was obviously performing at the Salem gig for Halloween. How did you kind of end up in Team Vemu? Like, how did that all happen?
Fenwa. All Fenwa. Because I'm the worst team member, and I'm really happy to be on a team, and it's been really nice, and all the musicians are amazing, and he helped me get on that team, and then like pretty soon after I'm like, oh, guess who's not streaming regularly anymore? Guess who's not doing the things that I'm supposed to do? But so thank you, Fenwa. I'm sorry I made you look bad with your team.
You're not trust me. Teams are an interesting thing because a lot of people will get on a team for any particular reason, and then life happens, and it's not really a bad thing necessarily. It's really just about networking and making friends. But so I guess that's a next part of my question is, did Fen find you on Twitch, or did you find Fen on Twitch? Because I know he's the reason why we found you.
Oh no. I'm the reason he found you. How dare he? How dare? How very dare.
Oh no,
Jen,
I have it twisted and I didn't know.
how
How
dare.
very dare.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so wait, rewind. So you found me before Fen found us.
That's correct.
And I did not know this. I did not know
No,
this.
I want to say that I'm trying to remember how it connected, but like I found you and I wanted to impress you, so I rated you. I was like, oh, I really like this girl. I want her to like me, and then just Fen and I were just really in sync at the time. So I want to say that was how it happened from there. You might argue with me about it, but that's how I remember. Because I found you at the time, peak Panini, peak Pantaloni's Extra Grande. I was just like looking for streamers to like watch that I thought were really interesting. And I remember when I first saw you, and I was scrolling through, and you were doing a Monster Day, and I was like, who the fuck? And then I listened to you, and I was like, shit, she's great, you know. So then I was like, oh, I have to be friends with her. Yes. You know, that's kind of how it happened for me.
Wow, this has been informative. I really didn't know that. So that's actually, that makes me very happy to hear, honestly, because I was talking about this earlier with Trish, like, you know, a couple hours before the stream, is that in a perfect world, exactly, Marie, in a perfect world, I would love to produce the type of shows, the theme shows that you come up with that are so on brand. And it's really just incredible to kind of look back on your about section on your website. And because I literally just like go through everything to kind of find what I want to ask about. And so just going through all the branding, and I'm like, God damn, like I just, there's something very, very, I definitely feel like you are part of the tribe that, if I only say this about a couple streamers, my community knows you're one of those people that if I raid you, it's because I love you as a human and you're going to love this show and our communities are going to vibe. And I don't say that lightly. I only say that about a couple people here and there. And so you're one of those people, and I hope that one day I can produce themed shows that are so incredibly branded, like you.
Well, you have LC Binks, like you're doing this whole thing that I imagine takes up a ton of focus. You know, when you're writing original music, like, you know what original songs I have? I have the Steamy Bohemians. I co-wrote those songs, which you can get on Apple iTunes and on Spotify.
Yes.
And I wrote my Christmas song, which is my big hit, Someday, Why Don't You Go Fuck Yourself This Christmas. Those are the songs that I write. But like, I'm not a songwriter, you know, and I really respect the hell out of that in people. I would like to say I'm more of a vessel. I'm a vessel for the music, but I don't write it.
It's honestly, songwriting is a whole other part of it, because as just me, Erin, I've probably only written 15 songs ever. And that might actually be too many. If I went and counted, it's probably between 10 and 15. I don't know the exact number, but we have like 4 records out. And honestly, I would be at a much different part musically of my life if it weren't for the band around me, you know? I'm super grateful for the guys that have kind of, and by guys I mean guys and girls, because obviously Jen as well, but the band, meaning I'm so grateful for them, because they're incredibly collaborative writers. They want to know what I want to write, and I want to know what they want to write, and that is a whole other different situation than you've probably really ever found yourself in. And it's very interesting. It's very time consuming. It is very it does use a lot of my energy, especially as we start to kind of dabble back into live shows. I'm doing my best to make sure that my Twitch presence doesn't go away once we start doing live shows. And granted, you kind of went like full fucking balls to the walls back into it, and we're doing like 1 show a month. So
I mean,
so it's a little different.
I feel like, so June was a crazy month for me, and I do want to circle back for how I met Fen.
Yes,
June
please.
I randomly got a bunch of like corporate type gigs and like weddings, so it ended up being like I just kind of got busy. But like as far as performing, producing, I'm really only doing like I can honestly only produce one good show every like 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, I'm not counting the Haunted Speakeasy as like one show. That's like one unit over multiple days.
Yeah.
But like, so 8 weeks ago I did Strip Zeppelin, and now I've got the Stevie show. And honestly, I wish I had another month in between. Like, it takes so much bandwidth to produce, because like people see the producing side, and I do have a few people that I've been told to like watch out for, like, oh, they want to steal what you have, they want to do what you do. And it's like, you can watch a magician 1,000 times, you don't learn the trick. Like, you can watch me produce, but the most important producer's job, who said it? Lois and Family Guy. Rita, the most important job of a producer is to fill the room. That really is the most important job of the producer, is to fill the room. And everything else, yeah, that's magic, but like, fill the room. That's the hardest job, and that takes more time than anything, is just getting those ticket sales. And I think I saw Marie asking if the Stevie show was sold out. No, I have about 8 tables left. So if you want to go, definitely go. And also, I'm sorry, I'm just totally hogging this conversation. I'm sea lioning you.
It's your conversation, Nikki.
Then I am at, so it's the same thing where I was just looking for streamers that I thought I would vibe with, and this is probably like not quite 2 years ago, but like 18 months or something ago, like a while ago. And I just remember seeing Fenn in his black and white and clicking in, and we actually had, even then, like a lot of crossover songs. That I was like, oh my God, I have to meet this guy. And I was intimidated by him too, because it's like, I'm a new streamer. And it's like, how do you, as somebody that's just coming in a chat, just a name in a chat, just be like, hey, I want to be your friend. Like, how do you even do that? So, and I remember how I met him was, I think I had rated him on like a Friday night. I rated him for my cooking show that I was doing on Friday nights at the time into Fenn. And then he was like, because I've been going with stream for a while. I was like, oh, okay, let me just check you out. And then he was like, oh shit, you do kind of what I do. And it's like, yes, let's be friends. Let's be friends forever in real life, in Salem, in the future.
And that's pretty much exactly how we feel about it. We're like, oh my God, we have to make it to Salem. We have to make it to a show. Please. Like, I will die.
Might even have for you at the Real World house. Who knows? Because I offered it to the band, and they don't want. I have a house for like 16, and I'm like, do I even fill it? I don't know.
Jesus, Lord, that sounds like drama. Can you imagine?
It was drama. Last year, I think there were a few fights. I was in most of them, and that tracks. That's on brand.
It's on brand. Yeah, I love. There's not many people doing what you and Fenn do. There's only a couple that I can even think of. And y'all are both at the top of my list, like when it comes to how branded you are, especially when it comes to what you put out into the world. I'm not even necessarily talking about Twitch, which is also incredibly branded.
I mean, Twitch it's fine. You know what I mean? It served what I wanted to do, and I want to do more with it. Like, what I really, if I had a crew, if I had money, if I had like Paris Hilton money, my show would be like Pee-wee's Playhouse meets Amy Sedaris at home, and that's what the show would be all the time. But like I was able to do what I was able to do because I had somebody, I'm not gonna say on staff because I didn't really pay Candy, but like available to do stuff. And now we're both so busy, and it's like, okay, what can I do? What can I do on my own? And it's definitely limited. It's no hands. I know he has no hands. Excuse me, he had been getting a bit handsy, so we just cut him right off. We don't deal with that. What a baby. I'm a cruel mistress. That's something you must know about me. I will take your hands. Second thought.
Just chop them off. They're not yours anymore. They're mine.
I have them somewhere. I remember pulling them out and being like, oh, you're getting really handsy. It was a really stupid gag, but yeah.
It's more boob magic. There's a whole hand in the boob.
The most I've pulled out is like 7 doves, what I really want is someone to get some of that material, and my goal is to get a giant dove, so at the very end I pull out one that's like this big as my finale. That's what I want.
I want that for you too. That sounds fantastic. 7 though. I'm like picturing 7. That's a lot.
Never know.
I know. And I love that's one of my favorite things is that there's just so many amazing things that happen on your stream. And I'm sure that they happen in real life too. And that's the best part is that I just want to see these things happening in real life. Obviously not at weddings. Although I would totally be that person to hire you to do your show with boob magic at a wedding.
Listen, that's about to be my wedding requirement for us.
Trish is already making it happen.
I'm done. Let's do it.
I am an excellent wedding band. I literally just played a wedding and I felt so bad. So they hired my David Bowie band. So that's the all-girl band. But one of my drummer couldn't fly out. It didn't end up being all-girl. It's fine. They hired that band. So they wanted David Bowie. So we did that. But it was such a hot night and we weren't allowed to play outside. So everybody in the wedding was like outside enjoying the beautiful weather. And we were just inside this empty ballroom. And everyone was like, oh, this is amazing. The bride and groom were like, oh, we've been getting compliments all night. But literally we played, it was like one of the most highest paid gigs I had been that I played for like 2 or 3 people that were really into like Bowie and like Stevie Nicks. And we played to an empty room.
I have literally been there. I have been there. That
doesn't make you want to hire me for your wedding though, does it?
No, I love it. That is the worst though. Honestly, playing to an empty room sucks the energy like nothing else. Nothing.
That's why I so hard. Twitch actually took me a while. That's why I'm actually, again, so weirded out that I'm just looking at a black screen, because at least before I could make eye contact with myself. Like I can't see. Like, hey.
I know.
But playing the Twitch, that was the hump I had to get over. Was it's the equivalent as a musician of playing to an empty room, and especially doing comedy.
Yeah.
Because doing comedy, you're like your laugh. That's your timing. You know, like I'm telling you a joke, and I'm waiting for the arc of the laugh to come to like right about here before I start my next joke. And so without that, you're like, okay, we're pretending that we're killing, you know? But that's when you start getting props. I brought a couple props up. These are some props for my stream.
Yes.
We've got a little Hold Me Closer Tony Danza. This I got at a show. I was at a show like so long ago, and they were giving these out, and I kept it. It was like some Tony Danza night, and my late dog hated this thing so much.
Oh.
There's marks all over it. It was so funny. But yes, this is Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza. And I have what else did I bring over? This is Phonia. This is another of the characters that Candy Dish does. Yes. Phonia sounds kind of like this. Phonia is Phony's wife. We met Phony before.
Yes.
And then this is a new guy. He doesn't have a name yet. Maybe you can name him. So when my papa passed away recently, I started going through his things, as you do.
Yeah.
And I found this in there. He had saved this phone for I don't know how many years.
Wow.
And I thought the funniest thing I've ever seen. So let me unwrap it to show you. What even is this?
Oh my gosh.
Cyclops now. Like what? It's a rotary. So that's how old it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It looks like a minion because it's yellow with one eyeball on it.
Well, yeah, that's okay.
It looks like a minion to me.
He does look like a minion. I could put a little jacket on him.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't this so funny? Like, what? I can't, and I'm like, how do you?
Right.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I know. That was interesting. Well, thanks, Nikki. Thanks for the show and tell. Thank you.
Honestly, though, I am here for it. I am always here for all the props. I love that you're just like, I brought props. I'm like, do it. Let's go. I'm ready.
Props. We're in the cemetery. We're just chilling. It looks like birth control. Oh.
Wait, what?
Boy, we need it.
The bottom of the phone.
Oh, the bottom of the phone. Oh, yes,
part.
books. It totally does. The rotary part. Yes. I'm like, wait, what?
Gotta take that pill, baby.
And so I had one other question that I wanted to ask you because you mention it in your about section on your website. So I don't know how briefly it was. Maybe it was a long time. I don't know. You were a Marilyn Monroe impersonator.
That's right.
I would love to hear any or all of the things that you want to tell me about that. I want to know all the things.
So that was such a hilarious gig, and I ended up getting out of it. One, because I mean, I just, I felt like I just didn't want to be like a joke as an impersonator. Like when I was doing it, I was really trying to. It sounds stupid. I was trying to be really like authentic you can as a impersonator. Like I'm not wearing a wig. There's no nothing. Like this is how it is, and so I retired. But when I was doing it, I would always get hired. It was always like elderly men birthday parties, as you can imagine, or like elderly nursing homes, which was bizarre because you go to a nursing home, right? And it's all women. There's like 2 guys and all women. And you're like, why would you hire me? And they all wanted Elvis. None of them were happy to have me there. They used to travel with my friend Charlie Cockpit, who was a 6'4" guy that dressed in a pilot's uniform. And we would do some shows together. And they loved him. They were like, bring him back on. Get rid of Blondie here. But I'd get hired to do a lot of old birthday parties. And I remember one time it was like 90 and he wanted me to sit on his lap. And I was like, oh, like I'm heavier than I look. Like you don't really want me to sit on your lap. I'm like dense, like mercury, like come on, dude. And he was like, no, come on. And so I kind of gently, I don't put all my weight on it. Like I sit on a man's lap that age, like I'm in a gas station toilet,
Yes.
Lowering myself to him.
Yes.
And I hear a commotion and a thud in the other room.
Oh.
And so people start to run out and I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? The poor man's wife fainted because she thought I was trying to steal her man. Like, ma'am, he's 90. You live in a duplex. I'm a hired goon. Like, well, I'm not trying to steal your man. Like, what am I going to do with him? Like, easy. So, that was the Maryland gig, and just people started getting really grabby with me, Maryland, toward the end. And I don't know if things changed or just my attitude toward it changed, but I just started to feel very, like people wanted a piece of you, and I can't even imagine how Marilyn herself felt because I was just a Marilyn impersonator, and men thought they owned my body. So I'd go to do a gig and you think walking through, a crowd, they grab your waist. No, every time, like just grabbing you. And I'm like that and being very forward with their advances. And I don't know if we talked about this, but I identify, I'm ace, I'm not like, I know I put out like very sex vibes. I'm not like a very sex person. So I didn't like any of that. And it really troubled me. So I didn't want to do any more. But one of my favorite gigs, I was doing this elderly home, and I had a gig doing them, like, I want to say every month, every 2 weeks, I was doing this elderly home. And I'd go in, and there was this lady in the front row, always, and she hated me. Like, she hated me. But she had Alzheimer's. So she didn't remember she hated me until, like, 5 minutes into my act, like, every time. So every time I got to watch this woman fall in hate with me. It was 50 hate every time I went in. And she would just say things, and you know how like sometimes old people like think they're whispering, but they say things really loud.
Yes.
Be like, oh my God, look at the cut of her dress. We're in a public place, like real shit like that. And I'm like, what, this whole thing, Or look at the part in her hair. And I'm assuming she meant my roots.
Right.
She was like, she's up to something. And I'm like, okay, true. I am something. And another time she, so I'm on the, like, I'm a double extra medium, like I'm a thick girl, and that's okay. But, back in the day that, if you could pinch an inch, they'd be giving you diet pills. So she was like obsessed with,
oh my,
she was obsessed with my calves. So I'd come in and she'd be like, oh my God, look at her calves. They're so thick. And the way she said it, it was just like she was spitting out like pea soup. Like she was so angry at how thick my legs were. It was amazing. And then to like get back at her because I'm petty, but also what are you going to do? I'd sing like inappropriate nursing home songs. Like songs that just you shouldn't sing in a nursing home.
Oh gosh.
So, like, oh, we come on the sloop, John B., my grandfather and me. You know the song. Oh, and that's our town we did roam. Then you get to the chorus. Why won't they let me go home? Please let me go home.
Yeah.
Not appropriate. Another inappropriate nursing home song I used to sing was Just a Gigolo.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Just a gigolo, hey, and everywhere. So everyone loves it until you get to when it switches over to I ain't got nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. Or like, I'm so sad and lonely. Anyways, Doris. Bless. I'll tell you what, I did have a redemption with Doris. I sometimes do my hair different colors, you know, with the do pastels.
Yes.
So I went through a blue phase. So I went in with blue hair. She was hot for me. She was like, you look so sexy. Why do you look so sexy? And I was like, oh, I don't know, Doris. It could be my hair. It could be my thick calves, you know?
Oh, I love, so obviously I stalk a little bit when we, schedule a chat like this. I loved when you had split hair. You had light blue and light pink at one point.
Well, I do like that. I'm going to do that. I usually do that if I don't have like a gig that I need to be like blonde for.
Mm-hmm.
I love when my roots start to come in because it like kind of covers up the roots. Yeah, I'm going to do that again for you.
Oh.
Very soon.
Oh my. Oh, hey girl. Oh, I did really like that. I was like, oh, I kind of want to use one of these for the promo. I'm like, okay, but she also doesn't have that hair right now.
Well,
so.
no, but if you told me not for the promo, I would have done it.
Oh my gosh. And you would have been like, well, just because you use that, I'm going to dye my hair.
It's not done to a hair chalk.
Oh, gotcha.
So I do the hair chalk, and it lasts maybe like 1 or 2 washes for me because my hair is so dead and porous. It doesn't stay. So that's why I can do pink, blue, rainbow. It doesn't matter.
Oh.
So if something is coming up, like I've done weddings where I did my hair like the color of their tablecloths. Like, I don't give a shit. It washes right out. Give me a tip. Yes, hair chalk for Stephanie.
I love it.
I was using this company called Color Smash. They have since discontinued their product, and this is so Nikki. I called and I bought all of their remaining product from the stock houses. So if there's color you want to try, like hit me up. I'm pretty sure I bought all of their product. Panini, because I get enough to last me until I died. So I was like, how much hair chalk am I going to need from now until say like, 800 or 900, right? That's
so what was that phone call like? I need to know. What was that phone call like?
I called and I was like, hey, Color Smash, I can't find your hair shadow anywhere. And they were like, oh, we discontinued it. We were only doing the spray. And I go, well, do you have any like left? And they go, yeah. And I go, well, how much? And she's like, I don't know, some boxes. And I was like, wrap it up. Like, I don't care. Invoice me, whatever you have. And I have giant boxes. Like, I cleaned them out. There was no more.
That's, I love it.
It actually took a while because they were like, well, we're not going into the warehouse right now because of the pandemic, which I'm like, that doesn't make sense, but okay, let's go with it. You're not going to the warehouse because the hair chalk has the corona. Like, come on.
Who knows? Who knows?
Things were crazy. Things were nuts, and they're still nuts. Like, I caught COVID about 2 weeks after the Strip Zeppelin show. I caught it at a drag show, and we all caught it. Candy Dish, a bunch of folks, which was nuts because it was a vaccinated only show. I had to have my second booster because I convinced a pharmacist that she didn't give a shit.
Yes, we talked about this. I was like, how did you do that?
Yeah, I talked to this pharmacist. Well, I kind of went through a few pharmacists, and then I met one that I was told didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And so I met her, and she was like, whatever, you want the vaccine? I'm giving you the vaccine. I don't care how old you are. You know what I mean? Like, you're an adult. And I was like, great. Thank you so much. So, because you have to be over 50 to get the vaccine or have some like major health thing. Mm-hmm. And while I think that my health things are major, they didn't agree. So.
I'm in the same exact boat. So
I got the high blood pressure. They're like, shut up. You're fine. Yes.
No, and as soon as you said that, I was like, oh my God, how did you do that? Like, I don't fall into any of the categories. You're like, bitch, I don't either. I found somebody who would do it for me. I'm like, God
Yeah,
damn
I
it.
found that would break the rules.
Yeah.
And that I think that's most of life right now is just finding somebody that doesn't give a shit.
I saw that today. So one of my Canadian streamer friends posted today that there is a certain part of Canada that now it's all ages, 18 and up can get the second booster. So like the fourth shot. So I'm like, oh, maybe we're close. Maybe we're close-ish, but still.
Well, I mean, you're to the border.
Right. That's true. I could be like, fuck it. Let's just go to Canada and get another booster.
Probably a gig. They're doing. I think they're a lot safer than we are with like measures. You can probably do a show.
You're not wrong. We actually talked about doing Canadian shows. We literally talked about that.
Love to. I want to do Montreal so bad.
Yeah, we actually have talked about that. The hardest part is like the visas and stuff and taking merchandise. It's like it's incredibly hard to make money.
Do we really need a visa to go to Canada now?
If you plan to make money, yeah.
Well, I mean, do we ever make money? Wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
That's what happened at some. They were like, oh, so are you a nonprofit? I'm like, I can firmly say I've never made a profit. So,
I wish that worked for us as an entity. It does not work for us. I wish though.
I'm like, look, see, broke even, fine.
Yeah, we do legitimately want to. We've played in Canada prior to the Pandemic Lovato, but not since. We actually have our first gig since March 14th, in 2020. Our first gig IRL again is in 3 days. So
Where are you playing?
We're playing at a like this gazebo type outdoorsy thing in Mount Clemens. It's like not far from where we live. It's very close to our home base at the Sound Shop studio, and yeah, we're just kind of hoping for the best at this point, you know. Outdoorsy shit is the only thing that I want to do, you know.
And it's perfect time. It's summer. Yeah, it's hard to take non-outdoor gigs, and I know that you have some other like health reasons to like not take the gigs. Honestly, I've been so scared ever since I had COVID. And excuse me, I had like a very mild case, but I was contagious forever. Like I was testing positive for 2 full weeks, you know.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was just hunkered down. Every time I get like a phantom boob pain, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, this is a COVID blood clot. This is a COVID heart attack. Like Cynthia,
Yes.
coming.
No, I feel you. The paranoia. It's hard not to kind of go in that direction. It's like anytime I wake up and I'm like, oh God, I feel feverish. Oh no. And it's like, no, you're literally right. It's finally COVID. And then I'm like, I'm fine. You're fine. You were having a nightmare.
2 weeks and like one drag show and like we all caught it. And luckily I didn't lose smell or anything, but it was so scary because I'm like, what is going to happen? What kind of long-term effects? And like I managed to avoid it for so long.
Yeah.
And now I had it. And I've had the 4th booster. Before BA5, I was like, oh, finally I'm going to have hot girl summer. Like this year. This is hot girl summer. And now they're like, oh, guess what? You can have it in 3 weeks. It's like, oh.
I saw that. I saw the reinfection rate is much faster. Yeah. I saw that on the news like yesterday morning or something.
I know. And I'm freaking out because I have the show on Friday. And it is, you know, vaccinated only. But like, you know, it's to the point now that it's really hard to have like the mask police at a show, and it's really hard to like I'm having enough trouble selling out a show because you wouldn't believe how many comments that I delete on my, you know, advertising posts where they're like, oh, but you want the whack vac or whatever talking point. It's like, yeah, if you can't even do that minimal amount to ensure the safety of my immune compromised staff, then no, you can't come. Then like go watch the Joe Rogan podcast at your house. Like you can't come to my show. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And see, I'm kind of in the middle somewhere because Michigan used to be doing the mostest, right? Like our governor kind of played martyr in a lot of ways. And so now, and it's been this way for probably over a year, Michigan ain't doing shit. Like most medical facilities don't even require masks. It's up to the facility itself.
Right. My laser office is still mandatory mask, and people don't love it, and I don't give a shit because I'm in close with you, and I just have plenty of masks. They walk in, I hand them a beautiful black mask, and shut up and get in my pain chair. I don't give a shit.
And that's exactly how I'm handling my merch booth on Sunday. I am going to make a sign. I have an unopened box of beautiful black masks that I'm going to hand somebody. If you fucking approach me to come to this merch booth, you better, exactly. Here you
If you're
go.
gonna for an extended period of time, which is most interactions, but like one-on-one,
Yeah.
get out of here.
And I'm so grateful for people like you who are standing up for this. And I that's something I didn't even really think that I didn't even.
I mean, it is minimal because I feel
Yeah.
like I should have it be. I feel like I need to also have it be like mask mandatory. But I'll tell you what, like it's a struggle. It's a line. So
Yeah.
I've have it optional, and a lot of people do wear the mask in the audience. But it's like the same thing when you go to a restaurant. Once they're sitting at their table and they're drinking,
Yeah.
am I really like, oh, put your mask on every sip? Like I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah. And that's even a line that we haven't crossed. We do not go back to restaurants. We have not gone any place. We still get all of our groceries. Like we do pickup orders. We order it online and then pick it up. Because
That's why you haven't
Michigan.
gone.
What was that?
That's why you haven't caught it.
Yeah, no, we don't do shit. The only people I see are the band, and I wear a mask. They don't all wear a mask anymore because I don't make that mandatory for them. I trust them enough to stay away.
Yeah. Well,
but
he and I
that's
do
it.
our shows, because we started in-person shows a while ago.
Yeah.
Everybody has to test before the show.
Yeah.
And I know that's also not foolproof because, we all just cut it at a show. But, like, we know for a fact that our staff and our performers weren't who brought it to the show. And we also know that and I'm sure see people online that say, like, you'll see them, like, they'll test positive, and then 3 days later there's like pictures of them at like a water park or the dentist or something, and you're like, you just positive, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
So, like, we can only do so much.
Yeah.
It's right now is a really hard time to be an artist that needs to make money for their art. But also, like, with Haunted Speakeasy, like, I'm trying not to let that fade out, because every time, like, during the pandemic, the first October, I did just an online show.
Yeah.
I had to hire a lawyer to go after this company out of Vegas that not only took the name of my trademark show, but tried to franchise it.
Oh.
And I didn't think there was any chance in hell that I was going to come on top of that, but I ended up finding a great lawyer that doesn't like to see artists and underdogs getting trampled on, that did it pro bono and wrote me up all this stuff. And we went after this big company in Vegas for trying to franchise my show, Haunted Speakeasy. They were doing Tampa, they were doing Vegas, they were doing all these places, and it wasn't good. And it was not nearly the level of, like, quality of an event that I had. It was like a bartender telling ghost stories and 3 cocktails, but they were calling it a Haunted Speakeasy and charging $50 a ticket. And I had to, like, fight, and I won, which was amazing.
Wow, that is amazing.
But if you slow down, I stopped doing, for another example is I stopped doing, I never trademarked Jerkus Circus, and I should have.
Yeah.
So we were doing Jerkus Circus for a while. It's a great name. Should have trademarked it. Now it's a ride called Jerkus Circus at some, like, horror amusement park somewhere, and it's a big ride, a big event, where it's like haunted clowns, which also makes sense and is great branding. But I'm like, fuck, if I trademarked that, I would have been like, hey.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. Holy crap. That's like a whole other ball of wax. And believe it or not, we've been talking for over an hour. Can you believe that it's been over an hour?
It's easy for us. We talk for like 3 hours. It's fine.
Literally, it's fine. I had no doubts that I was going to have to be like, it's been an hour and I need to cut us off from talking for 3 hours.
I still have more champagne, but
I know. I still have a little bit of wine left. I had one giant glass of Riesling left in the fridge. I have more. Don't worry. But
I don't want to leave you Riesling-less. Oh, books,
No.
brews, and booze. So much. Yeah, people who steal suck. Marky, I'm not going to say that they stole, because I don't think that it's like such an original idea, but I was first. So even though I don't think that was marketing it. So, like, while I don't think that they stole from me, but I definitely, what are you going to do? If you don't trademark it, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah. And so before we kind of hang up for the day, because I could talk to you forever. I could literally keep you here forever.
I
What?
wish I could see you real time, though. That's the only thing I'm missing with this.
I know.
Seeing you.
I know. My computer cannot handle the virtual camera for
No.
any amount of time while running a stream. I did try. I tried my hardest, but this camera does not like it.
Setup that I have. So I have I have a big sturdy, tripod. I have my iPad. I have
Yes.
my iPad that lets me direct connect to the internet. I have the lights going, but because I'm so afraid of being electrocuted in my hot tub, I have a series of ropes set up to hold up the thing that even if it fell, that my pad and the light wouldn't fall in the hot tub, because that is not what I want my obituary to say. Can you fucking imagine, Nikki Luparelli died age 300 in a hot tub accident during a live, I can't, that's not what I want. Blood alcohol level 0.09. I don't need that shit.
Like in Death Becomes Her, 0.50, whatever the fuck they say in Death Becomes Her when she's dead.
I would drink the potion, Erin, in a heartbeat.
Listen, I would too. Yep, 100%. I would drink that potion in a heartbeat. Death Becomes Her seems on brand. That's like our cross. That's our Venn diagram. If I'm on one side and you're on the other, the center part of the Venn diagram is Death Becomes Her.
I totally agree with that. I was obsessed with that movie growing up, and I still am. I love it.
Same. We had that on VHS. I think I wore that damn tape out. I adore that movie.
No, so a quick aside about Death Becomes Her. Do you remember they were advertising that movie, and there was a scene they kept advertising in the movie that wasn't in the movie?
No.
Where it was like, I'm dying, everybody's dying, and it wasn't. They cut it from the movie.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to go. I'm sure those exist on YouTube somewhere. They probably do.
Oh yeah, no, there's a whole series on YouTube about deleted scenes from Death Becomes Her. There was a whole scene with another actress. I can't remember her name. And they completely cut it. What a great movie. Bruce Willis is so cute in that. Goldie Hawn is at her peak, and she's literally as old as she's supposed to be, just looking amazing. I think she's in her around 50 when she made that, and just looking like she already took the potion. The potion was real.
Yeah.
My God, my poor blind dog just came back from his walk, and he's trying to get to me through all of my equipment.
He's like, Mom, the ropes, why?
Fully blind with his Tom Petty with his bangs in his face, so he just goes by smell, and he can smell me, and I'm sure I smell like weed and Chanel and alcohol. Trying to get to me. All right, you have to.
No, I'm always like, I could talk to you for days, but boundaries. Something about Twitch and boundaries. I want to make sure I'm not overstaying my welcome, although I know I could talk to you all day long. And legitimately, me and Trish have been talking about potentially maybe coming in October, if it makes sense.
Or and I'll start if you're serious. I have friends. I'll start looking for if we can't fit you in the Salem streaming house, maybe I can find you a place nearby. Maybe we can talk about something so that I don't have to make you pay the exorbitant ticket price. Let's talk off stream.
We'll talk.
Yes,
we'll talk. Absolutely, we'll talk. Is there any final thought you want to leave the chat with today?
Have a good time all the time.
60% of the time, have a good time.
This whole world is BYOB if you want it to be.
You know what? That's the best final thought ever, honestly. I love that for us. And thank you for taking the time to come chat with us today, Nikki. I just adore you. Thank you so much.
I love you. I thank you for making me feel relevant.
You fucking are relevant, bitch. Stop it. You are relevant. I promise. The chat promises. Trish promises. You are relevant. You have seriously done so much in the entertainment industry. You are so incredibly relevant, and I have no doubt in my mind that you are going to stay relevant for many, many, many 3,000 years to come.
At least, easily.
Minimum 3,000. All right, we'll talk soon, Nikki. Thank you so much. Mwah, I love your face. All right, bye.